He said, there are paintings in museums all over the world of women with bodies just like yours.
Welcome to another installment of what? Of the wild and wonderful OZY Confidential. I'm your host, Eugene S. Robinson, and today we have a one Ms. Trixie Fou Laurant, stage name for a Susan Burley, who grew up back in Virginia, living a fairly average existence, fairly average marriage, moved to sunny California, living the life of a Silicon Valley wage slave, and then something happened. Everything fell apart. The marriage, gone. The wage slavery, gone. Which, under normal circumstances, doesn't sound so bad, but she had to redefine herself, and did so, first as a burlesque performer, baby, and then beyond, sex camming for fun and apparently profit. All at the age of almost 50. But hey, let's have her tell it.
What happened was, this girl came from Hawaii to make a film. This guy was making small independent film. So that's where they met. Right. They met here, and I think that's when this affair started. And so I'm just like, oh, great, have fun working on the movie, and yay, And then he said, I'm going to go to Hawaii to work on this movie with this guy. Because he saw the stuff I did on this one and he liked it, so I'm going to go and make this movie. I'm like, okay, great, that's wonderful. But what he was really doing was going to Hawaii to spend time with this girl. Yep. There was no movie, and so it's funny because, people lie to themselves and start to believe their own lies. Oh, wait, did I mention that the person he was having this affair with was half my age, half my size, very, very, very much of an ego blow, having to deal with that. It should have ended much, much sooner than it did, but, avoidance and denial are powerful things. The lying. There were some pretty big lies in there, and I was just like, if we were business partners, we had a business together, and he was stealing money, I'd have to not be business partners with him anymore. And finally, I had to either keep going on that road or decide to get off. So I decided to get off, and it was very difficult. It was very difficult.
So now, how did you get yourself into the performative kind of the burlesque world?
My therapist.
Tell me.
We were, the marriage was done, and just kind of adjusting to that. And he's like, what I want you to do? I want you to take a class. Doesn't matter what it is, but something you're interested in, something you've always wanted to do but never did. Cooking class, rock climbing, whatever. Language, whatever. Just do something outside of your normal thing.
There are lots of adult education classes. You could have taken French or saxophone or pottery, but why burlesque? How was it that it ended up being burlesque?
Mostly because I remembered my friend was offering the class, and my therapist had said, it was something that I'd always kind of wanted to do, but just never did. So I called her, and she's like, you know what? I've got one slot left. It's all yours.
And how old were you at this point?
Oh, let's not talk numbers.
Well, you're not older than me, so everybody's young in this world.
I know. And I shouldn't be ashamed of it because really I feel like me doing that. I was 45 when I started doing this, and so I feel like I'm also representing women of a certain age who, at a certain point in life where my message that I'm trying to send is that ladies, the party's not over. You know, like we could just be getting started here. Okay.
All right. Okay. How much of a possibility is it that this happened because the burlesque class was mostly women and it felt like a safe space?
Yeah, that's a good point, because that really was, you know, it was a very safe place to be, and I did like that.
Had you ever spent any time on stage before?
No.
Undressed?
No,
Okay.
not dressed or undressed.
Okay, all right. So no school plays, nothing?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Very, very shy.
Okay.
Like very behind the scenes. I'm just like, I don't want any attention. No attention. Don't look at me. Don't see me.
All right. So now what starts to happen at the burlesque class? I mean, are you
So the burlesque class is like, you know, 12 weeks.
right?
And at the end, there's a performance.
So now, what did you do for your very first burlesque show?
I did a Cramp song,
Which one?
The Way I Walk.
Yeah.
The way I walk is just the way I walk. The way I talk is just the way I talk. The way I smile is just the way I smile. Touch me, baby, and I go.
Because it was like the shortest. I was like, I'm going to find the shortest song possible.
Right.
I think that song is like 2 minutes long.
Okay.
I was like, oh, perfect. 2 minutes. I can do 2 minutes.
So now, but you've gone from never being on stage before to being completely, well, not completely, but majorly naked on
Pretty
stage.
much,
So-
pretty much. And I felt like it was a cleansing thing because of the divorce and all of that, and there were so many people that I
Friends of ours or
knew
acquaintances of ours.
peripherally,
Just,
and I was
you know,
just like, these people just know
about my
everything.
private life.
These people know stuff about me that I just like felt invaded, and I was like, well, okay, so you've seen my soul. Now here's everything else. Here you go. 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 Here you go.
That seems to me a major positive development. Did you report this to the therapist and go, hey, look where I am? This is
Yeah, and he was just like, yeah, that's great.
good. So now, did this end up changing the way you felt about your body?
Absolutely, yeah.
How so?
I had never really felt like I wanted to show my body, and this made me feel like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Like this is it, and I'm okay with it.
Right.
You may not be. It doesn't really matter. It's for me. I just felt like my whole world had kind of collapsed. Like everything I thought was so wasn't. It just had kind of evaporated, and it was just like in this like free fall for a while, and it took me a while to get my footing back.
Did this change your approach to your sexuality?
I've often said that burlesque was the gateway into pornography.
Right.
Because, once you're comfortable with yourself, then yeah, you're comfortable and less inhibited, and and the way that I actually got into doing porn or sex work was there was a woman who worked at Kink. She actually still works there in like the accounting finance office. Like Kink.com had several websites that you could be a member of, and Kink Live was one of those choices. And when I ran into her and was just like, yeah, I gotta find some work, gotta find something to do. And she was like, oh my God, why don't you just come down and start doing this? Because there's decent money in it, and you can start doing it, and yeah, why not? And so as I needed money, and that opportunity was there, it's like, oh, well, I really don't have a problem with that, so why not? Once you go there, once you've done it, once you've been naked in front of people, it's not so difficult to continue to be naked in front of people, I guess.
Do you think you think your ex has ever seen any of your work?
I had been doing the Kink Live stuff for a little while before he found out, and he was like in the art department, so the set building, And it's funny because I actually ended up working on one of the sets that he had built. I know, right? I know. It's I don't know. I don't know what to call that. Is it justice, retribution? Like, I don't know.
I think Charlie Bronson used to call that justice. So now, do they set you up from your laptop from home, or do you have to go to a place?
They had the studio set up, so they had like 4 or 5 sets that you could you could go in and do it there. They had all the equipment, so that was easier in the beginning.
Is it like an IT person who runs the computer, or is it actually you really typing on the computer?
Yeah, there's a computer there, and it's with the screen and everything. So
Not your computer, a computer.
Yeah, a computer. Yeah, so you're actually, there's a computer there, and you're interacting one-on-one. And then behind the scenes, there are monitors and IT people, and they're all like monitoring and make sure the stream is going and everything is up and running.
So your shift, say, starts at 11. You show up at 11. You enter the room.
Log on,
You log on. So how does it work with pay structure, right? People, I guess they have to pay to talk to you, or can they watch you for free? Or?
So it's set up so that like there's a public room, and then there's an option for the user to click into. There were like 2 options, like a private, and then like a semi-private. Like it's a private, but other people can come in.
So how do you keep the public people from seeing it? I guess the IT people do.
Yeah, that's when the user clicks on, it goes into like out of the public and into a private.
Got it.
One-on-one.
So so now what happens in the private?
Anything. This guy is like, okay, how many dildos do you have? I said, oh, I've got a lot, right? Got a wide array of dildos here. He's like, okay, get them all together. I was like, okay. So he's like, okay, well, you put one in your ass, one in your mouth, and hold the rest of them in your arms, and then jump around. So he's like, okay, well, you put one in your pussy, one in your ass,
like
one in your mouth,
jump around like a basketball
and hold the rest.
player.
Yeah, just like hop around in a circle, right? And I'm just like, I'm just laughing at this because it's just, I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever done. I think.
You know, my problem with like strip clubs and a certain type of sex work, I remember I've identified with the stage performer for so long, because I've been doing stage stuff since I was like 2, that I could never get beyond that with a strip club. In other words, the performative aspects, I could never get beyond it, right? So it's like I always identified more with the people on stage and the people in the audience who were buying what they used to call in pro-fake wrestling, kayfabe. They're buying the act. So now so you're in the room, you're in front of a computer, you're doing it. Like, what's going on in your mind?
That it's funny that you say that because a lot of the girls and a lot of the ones who made money were doing like this, like giving, like being that like porn person. Yeah. And and they bought it. Like every time I heard a girl giggle, I'm just like, oh, really? And then, and then I just hear like, she's like, ching, 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 ching. Like, I'm just like, really? And, so it just made me disappointed in men. But it's like, you guys are just, you just suck it right up and just believe.
Do you ever meet any of the people that can't your regulars in real IRL in real life?
I did, yeah. Because pretty much from like the first week that I was on, there was one guy that he would come in and he would just like hang out, didn't really say anything. He would just hang out and like eventually started talking a little bit. And then he would come in and do privates.
Right.
Every day. And I was like, this is my bread and butter. This is like, this guy. I like this guy.
Yep.
So he lives in Europe, and we were just talking, and he liked me because I was older and could have conversation. And he gave me the best compliment I've ever gotten in my life.
Tell me.
He said, Trixie, there are paintings in museums all over the world of women with bodies just like yours.
Yep.
And I was like, wow, okay, you put it that way. Yeah. I was like, wow. I mean, it was like,
And he was paying for this privilege. This is great. It's like kind of a reversal of the whole therapy thing.
yeah, it was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Right.
So that was just a beautiful compliment. And so we were talking, and I said, well, if you ever come to San Francisco, And he was like, well, I probably won't, but if you want to come here.
Yeah.
I was like, there's absolutely nothing keeping me from doing that. So I said, yes, let's do that. And he said, okay, great. I'll send you a ticket. And so we planned it out, and I went there and stayed for a month, which is kind of a risky thing to do. Like most girls are like, oh no, never ever meet any of them, never under any circumstances. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like this guy, like we talk every single day. Like I know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's okay. I feel like my gut is telling me that it's fine. And so I went. Spent a month and was fantastic.
It was great. So did he ever did they ever ask, like inevitably people do, how did you two meet? Did they?
Oh, we had a whole story concocted for
What was the story?
because he's very proper. Like you see him and the first thing that you think is not, oh, what a dirty perverted old man he is, because he's just like a it's just a guy like minding his business, and nobody would ever think what lies beneath.
Right.
So we had a whole story concocted of how we met, and like the first time someone actually said, "So, how did you meet?" And I had to go through the whole story. I could see him like kind of leaning back, listening, and I'm just like, did I get it right? He's like, yeah, it sounded good.
So what was it, like a business conference or whatever?
Yeah, like some online like group that.
So close enough to the truth to actually
close
be
enough
easy to remember.
It wasn't just like,
details.
oh well, I'm on this webcam where and he comes on and masturbates and
What about your family back in Virginia? Are folks are they digging on the burlesque thing, or do they not know, or is it
like I don't have any contact with my family. Like my father died while I was still married, and my mother died a few years ago, and I probably hadn't spoken to her since my father died, actually.
for historical reasons, or had there been a riff of some
No riff really. My mother said something to me after my father died that made me think, why am I going back again and again for this same treatment from her when I don't have to? I'm just going to cut ties and be done.
What did she say?
My father had come out. My father had been sick. So I tried to, I said, Dad, why don't you just maybe come out here? There's maybe better doctors out here. Maybe you could see someone out here. And so when my father died and I was back at home talking about, the time that he was here, and my mother just says, well, he didn't have a good time while he was out there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, well, that's just about the meanest thing that you could have said to me. I think I'm just done with, things being said to me like this. So I'm done. And that was kind of our relationship anyway.
So now, so coming from being freshly divorced to now, doing sex scamming, has how far has your sense of your place in space, how far has it gone? How far has it changed? Or was it a question of, uncovering and discovering what was already there?
I think that's more accurate, uncovering what had been covered up. Because, you know, like with the burlesque and being on stage, it was like, oh, okay, I can do this. I did. I feel good about that. So it was like the confidence building, confidence started coming back. You know, because, you know, like I said, the marriage probably should have ended like 5-6 years sooner than it did. You know, and so it was just a matter of spending a lot of years just like, it's just easier to not deal with this, you know, and just suppressing and ignoring and denying. And then once I was free of all that, I felt like I had come into my own.
What would you tell your younger self about what you've learned?
Probably to start doing these things earlier in life, because I've enjoyed like everything, you know, since, you know, post divorce, everything that I've done, I've not regretted anything, and you know, only that, well, I should have been doing this years ago.
And now the European guy, is that like movie last year at Marienbad? Is that an ongoing thing? Does that continue, or did that run its course?
No, I'm planning a trip in June.
Nice.
So that's what, five years later, I guess.
But now hold it. I mean, and just for clarification, you are no longer sex camming, right?
Yeah, I have a 9-to-5 day job. I don't like it. I mean, I like it. I don't like working 9 to 5. I got this job and I cried for 3 days. Like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work. It was the best job I ever had. If I'd been able to make enough money to not have to worry about making sure I was, you know, bills were paid, then I would keep doing it.
There you go. Sometimes it's that easy, or maybe not easy at all, depending on who you are, your vantage point on life, and your outlook on just about everything. But so it goes for Trixie Fou Laurant. Happy or happy enough? Sometimes it's a little bit of the former and a lot of the latter. In any case, thank her for her time at OZY Confidential. Next up, Pericles Mostramos. He had a mother with dementia. Required a lot of adult care. Almost $100,000 worth a year by his estimation. How'd he do it? How'd he raise the money? Well, maybe something along the lines of international drug trafficking? Yeah, you make sense of it. Or you will, on next week's OZY Confidential. OZY Confidential is produced by who else? Me, Eugene S. Robinson, executive produced by Rob Kulos, and mixed and engineered by Nick Johnson. And for more OZY Confidential, go to OZY.com/confidential. Hush, hush.